So this rap beef really needs to be addressed. I've been watching it for a long time now, and I was thinking, maybe I should comment on it. But like, as soon as I wanted to comment on it, another thing comes out that I had to like analyze and see my position on. So what I'm gonna do in this video, I'm not gonna like show my opinion. I'm gonna have no bias. I'm just gonna do a run through of the whole scenario, everything that's happened. So this whole thing kind of started when Heroes and Villains dropped. Well, a little bit before, because this song Trance, Drake really liked when listening through Heroes and Villains, and he asked Metro if he could have a feature on this song. And Metro was like, "Oh, the track's so full, I can't find a space for you." And Drake did not like that. So that's like the start of Drake's beef with Metro. And then Metro wanted to drop this album, We Don't Trust You, with a bunch of sneak disses about Drake, and just direct disses, because Drake had been sneak dissing Metro Boomin for a while after. Most notably off this album, there's the track Like That, which is just a great Metro Boomin produced song with just some top tier Future rapping, and it's like that until Kendrick's verse comes on, and he just immediately goes on like demon time on J. Cole and on Drake, and he's like, no, I'm not a part of any big three, I'm above you, it's big me, right? And the next thing that drops is J. Cole ends up dropping a whole album, Might Delete Later, in which the last song, 7 Minute Drill, is not 7 minutes, this is just the name of a drill that J. Cole does when he's writing raps, but it's a diss track on Kendrick, and he basically says, Kendrick's choreography is mid, there's classic albums, there's amazing, that's what he says, so, with some weak references. It was a weak track, by far the worst in the album. The album, however, was great, but it was completely overshadowed by this miscalculation on J. Cole's part. But J. Cole actually saw this as a miscalculation, and on a show later, he addressed that the whole thing's been stressing him out, and he just wants out of the beef, and so he takes down the track, and he hasn't been very vocal about it since. The next thing that happened was the Push-Ups Drake diss addressing Like That was leaked. It wasn't fully released until a while later, but it was leaked, which leads into the next one, which is Champagne Moments by Rick Ross, which basically he released this diss because there were shots at him in the leak of Push-Ups, and he decided to fire back and basically say, your nose and your abs, they're fake, you got them from procedures, and he coined the term BBL Drizzy, which is obviously Brazilian butt lift Drake. Soon after, on April 12th, We Still Don't Trust You dropped, and this featured a sort of sneak diss, small verse from The Weeknd, in which he basically is saying, like, thank God I didn't sign to OVO, because, yeah. Also, there's a diss from A$AP Rocky, in which he basically just goes on to say, I hit your wife before you, And soon after this, on April 19th, Drake officially dropped the Push-Ups track, in which he says a lot of things. For example, this is a 20v1, everyone against Drake, and he addresses a bunch of things, going through all the people that sort of dissed him. However, his disses to Kendrick were quite weak, which stirred a lot of criticism in the community. Shortly after releasing Push-Ups, Drake went on his Instagram and posted this, Tailor-Made Freestyle, which featured AI voices of Snoop Dogg and the late rapper Tupac, which are two of Kendrick's idols. They both had their own verses where they talked about how Kendrick isn't really a gangster and, other stuff about that. And Drake also had a verse on here basically taunting Kendrick, saying, why haven't you dropped yet? This was like a week after, and he's like, you're taking a long time, and like this was forcing Kendrick into a position where he had to drop. The next thing that dropped was Ye's Like That remix, which was basically just a revamped, remixed version of Like That, where Ye went on to support Kendrick's side, and basically express his detestment for Cole and Drake. And later, as promised, Kendrick delivered a very lyrically heavy track, Euphoria, the title having many different meanings. Basically, he was just saying, I feel great, and, he also said it's also about the show Euphoria, which was known for sexualizing young women, and Drake was a producer on Euphoria. And giving no one any time to react, he very, very soon after dropped 616 in Toronto, which was a track that actually featured Drake's dad on guitar, which is why he wasn't able to get it cleared and actually upload that onto Spotify. And then when it seemed like everything was like wrapping up for Drake, he dropped Family Matters, which is a track that basically went through and addressed every other diss from A$AP Rocky, from Rick Ross, from The Weeknd, from Kendrick. It also threw J. Cole under the bus, which was a weird development. But this was a 7-minute track, and it addressed Kendrick as a bad father and a bad husband, and it raised allegations of Kendrick beating his wife. You know how I was talking about it seeming like it was wrapping up? It was not wrapping up. Immediately after, Kendrick dropped this track, Meet the Grahams, which went through every member of Drake's family and did a letter to them. So it started with Adonis, and he basically said, sorry your dad sucks so much, I wish he didn't exist, come be my son. And this was a very menacing track with obviously great lyricism and a lot of very strong takes, including the supposed existence of a 11-year-old daughter of Drake's. He then very, very soon after, maybe a day after, dropped Not Like Us, which was a excellently produced diss that called out the allegations of Drake being a pedophile and a predator. And it also called out the other members of OVO with allegations. And now we're all caught up with The Heart Part 6, this title referencing Kendrick's series of songs, The Heart Part 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it's also referencing the fact that Dave Free commented a heart on Whitney, Kendrick's wife's photo that she posted of her child, which Drake says that may be his child. This song is Drake basically going through all the allegations and denying them and saying that, A, he's not a predator, B, he's not harboring a secret 11-year-old son, and C, he goes on to talk about the fact that Kendrick might have been molested, as the song by Kendrick, Mother I Sober, talks heavily about rape and molestation. And he he links that up with the pedophile claims, saying that it was